We are here today outside Downing Street to begin our rally for a reason. Because Boris Johnson in there and the British government is complicit in what's happening in India. They are complicit in the impending genocide, which international scholars of genocide are warning us about. People who predicted the Rwanda genocide are saying that India is going to be next with a genocide of its Muslim community. And we can't forget that while the JCB bulldozers were being sent by Modi's government to destroy Muslim homes in Delhi, in UP, and most recently, as we all saw, the brave activist Afrin Fatima's home in Allahabad was destroyed. Now, right at that time, our Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, was posing on a JCB bulldozer for the media. So what my organization, South Asia Solidarity Group, and all of us here today, all the 20 diaspora organizations who called this march, want to say to him is stop enabling genocide, stop enabling fascism in India. Now we know that Modi and his fascist stormtroopers in India are not alone. While they are endlessly calling for genocide, while they are killing and raping Muslims, Dalits, Christians, Adivasis, well, meanwhile, his corporate friends Adani and Ambani are plundering India. They're robbing the Adivasi indigenous people of their lands. And when they're doing that, they've got the support of British banks, of British finance, of the City of London, just like in the days of the East India Company, which robbed India for 2 centuries. Now, meanwhile, we know that the Hindu supremacist groups are right here in Britain too. They're trying to get into our communities. They're raising funds which go directly to fund the murderous activities of the RSS and the ultra-violent militias like the Bajrang Dal. Those funds which are raised by organizations like Sewa International go directly to the groups that are carrying out the mob lynchings of Muslims and Dalits. And we saw the Sewa International at it again during COVID. And we've proved time and again how that money goes towards killing. And we demand today action to stop the funding of hate in India from Britain, to stop the funding of genocide in India from Britain, because we will never forget what happened in Gujarat in 2002. We will never forget those precious lives that were lost in such horrific ways. And we will always remember the incredible courage of Zakia Jafri, who watched her husband being horrifically hacked to death and burned, and then for 20 years has fought to bring the main culprit to justice. And we know his name. We know that it's Narendra Modi who ordered those killings, and those rapes and those destructions of lives. And the person who stood by Zakia Jafri every step of the way and who tirelessly fought for justice to bring the culprits to book, Teesta Setalwad. Teesta is behind bars today, and we demand her immediate release. Just as those who are at the forefront of fighting for justice are behind bars today, so are those who speak out for truth. Those who expose the hate speech and the avalanche of lies which come out from the Hindu fascists. And one of the people who was doing that tirelessly was Mohammed Zubair. And the regime is afraid of truth. So we know that that is the reason that he's in jail, that he has been remanded, that every day we hear of more ridiculous and more malicious accusations against him. So we demand that he's immediately released, and we also demand the release of all of those young people who bravely and peacefully protested against the fascist Citizenship Amendment Act, which sought to strip Muslims of Indian citizenship. So Umar Khaled, Gulfisha Fatima, and many, many more must be free. And we also demand freedom for all of those like Khurram Parvez, the human rights activist, who've been incarcerated for speaking for human rights in Kashmir, against the terrible intensification of violence against the Kashmiri people that we've seen since 2014, and particularly since 2019. The disappearances, the internet shutdowns, the arrests, the killings. Now today I want us also to remember Father Stan Swami. We'll never forget how he gave his life, how he was murdered in jail. And we'll never forget all of those who are still languishing in jail in the Bhima Koregaon case after being framed using the Israeli spyware technology that the Indian government bought. Now the Modi regime is like all the other fascists we've seen in history. They're afraid of the people. They're afraid when people come out on the streets like you have today. They're afraid. They were afraid of the courageous women of Shaheen Bagh and all the Shaheen Baghs across India who occupied the public spaces saying no to the CAA. They're afraid of all the farmers who came out in their thousands and managed to defeat the oppressive farm bills. They're afraid of the Adivasis who are resisting the grabbing of their land, their ancestral lands. They're afraid of the unemployed youth on the streets demanding jobs. And the reason they're afraid is that in the end, the people will win and justice will win. And so they should be very afraid. Now next month, it's going to be 80 years since the Quit India movement, which I'm sure you know was a key moment in the freedom struggle of the people of India when they threw the British colonialists out of the country. Now at that time, we know that the RSS was busy doing the bidding of its colonial masters. They were never part of the freedom struggle. Now today, we here in the diaspora must stand up alongside all of those people in India who are having to wage a new freedom struggle against fascism, to free India from fascism, to free India from Brahminical Hindu supremacism. We need to stand by all of those who are telling the RSS that now it's time for you too to quit India. Thank you.